Back to the podcast. Yeah. Hi, welcome.
Welcome, everyone. We're back from out of space temporarily because there was an election yesterday.
We need to go
And
back as soon as possible.
yeah,
We need to go back to space. We got to go back. We can't be here.
that might be a safe place.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. What an insane outcome.
Yeah. Well,
What an insane outcome. So for those who are, this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be 2 days after the election. If you haven't heard, if you're trying to stay away or you just don't know or you forgot, Trump has won, not officially, but it's been called, right? The numbers are not 100% in, but unless some major recount occurs, there's going to be a very high chance that he has won. Uh,
is
which
it true?
is
Is it true that Biden said after the election which candidate won?
what?
I said, is it true that Biden said after the election which candidate won?
No, he was asleep.
He
He
was
he was
asleep.
he was dead to the world during this whole election thing. It was bedtime for him. He had his handler put him to bed. He's he was shitting in his diaper.
Okay.
Homie was not aware. He woke up and heard the bad news and went, "Oh!" And then that was it. And then he went back about his day. And he
Yeah.
forgot.
Well, he represented our country, good or bad, for 4 years. I think badly, but
I would say pretty garbage. But
yeah.
he's looking pretty good compared to what's about to come in.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I I I have been prepared for this because all my friends and acquaintances are Trump supporters. I have gotten some initial things to talk about that they gave me, and I will. Um, I say he is the president of the United States, and I emphasize the word United States. We will wish him the best. Hope he does the best for our country, and uh, hopefully he'll do better than Mr. Biden did. Hopefully.
I'm gonna put some good money that he's not.
Okay,
I'm gonna put
that's
some
what.
good money. RFK Jr. in the healthcare department. RFK Jr. in the healthcare department.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Medicare,
We'll get
Social
we'll get
Security,
we'll get to that.
women's
Um,
rights.
so let me open this up quickly. Um, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things we can talk about briefly, and then you can comment and then bring up your topics. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
First of all, my one of my friends who's a very very sound trumper uh, said to me, "What the Democrats have to do in the future is vet their candidates." Um, I'm sure the Democrats do vet their candidates, but basically, we want to make sure that they can withstand stupidity, like they said about Kamala doing things with Willie Brown.
Oh,
You
that she
know,
slept her way to the top. Yeah.
yeah, uh,
Absolute horseshit.
yeah. But no, I agree. Let's do a better job on vetting. Secondly, no identity politics. Uh, don't select somebody because of their gender or their race to solidify votes for a particular area. They feel that Kamala was not talented,
Not
and
talented. She's been in every branch of the government.
well, you just said they feel she slept away to the top.
So
Uh,
they feel she slept away at the top, but like I guess it goes hand in hand when you've got stupidity, right? If you think she slept her way to the top, then you think she's not qualified. But like she has the resume. She's been in every part of the government versus a reality TV star.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't I don't keep going, keep going.
yeah, okay. Well, this is what I got from them. Uh, they want to make sure that the reason why the Democrats lost was they wouldn't secure the border.
No,
Um,
that's not why, but
one
yeah.
of the things, one of the
Uh
things,
I'll get into why I heavily think Kamala was an absolute horrendous campaign, but keep going.
and here's a good one. I think you'll enjoy this one. Uh, why should we pay for sex changes paid in the prison under her?
If that was one of your biggest arguments for voting for him over everything else, political wise, policy wise, law, we have nothing to talk about. If that was like your defining reason why you voted for him was sex changes in a jail cell that you can't even confirm or deny is actually happening, let alone you've actually been there. That's your defining line over everything else. Get the fuck
No, it was what
out
it was
of here.
one of the things
What I'm
I
saying
could.
is, even if it's on your top like 5 list of like main reasons, that's one of them over every other topic we can possibly have in America. Get the fuck out
Now these aren't their
of
top.
here.
Yeah, I know these aren't their top seven. It's just what I got from.
I'm just saying, no,
Yeah,
I get
I
it.
understand.
I'm not
Yeah,
necessarily going after this exact person and saying like this is what they were wholeheartedly saying this is their full reason. I'm simply saying if that was in your top 5, like I the jokes write themselves. Keep going.
okay. And the Democrats did not address inflation. That inflation has to be addressed because the price of goods and services have gone up. If you go to the grocery store, prices have gone up. So that was one of the reasons for her downfall.
Okay.
And giving benefits to illegal aliens, I guess they were referring to medical benefits, uh, maybe maybe uh, other financial benefits.
Like welfare or something.
Yeah, welfare and
Okay.
such. So those were the ones that they quickly hit upon because I didn't want to get 20. They could have gone, he could have gone on and on and on.
Yeah.
But you know,
What was tell me the one just before the welfare illegal aliens? What was the one you said just before that?
uh, sex change paid in
Yeah, yeah,
prison.
yeah. Yeah, okay,
What
okay.
I left out one
Oh, go
also.
ahead.
They believe that the abortion policies should be settled with states, not the federal government.
Okay.
Okay.
Absolute ignorant comment, but in terms of like statement, but
Okay, so I try to get other opinions. You know what I'm
no, I
saying?
get it. No, no. I appreciate it. My comment saying that it is an ignorant thing is simply to parallel the fact that they also tried to make slavery a state rights issue. So I don't see how that works out. Mind you, also, uh, what was it? California voted in favor of or voted against abolishing slavery. Um,
We're not allowed to have slaves.
no, no. Where was the hold on. The I was oh
So
it was where did it go? No votes leaves Southern Peru. Where did it go? I was just looking at it
well, while you're looking, let me just say something then,
to
okay?
here it is. California proposition to ban forced prison labor trails in early votes. They did not they voted against forced prison labor. Slavery in
Okay.
prison, forced labor, slavery. California, a considerably democratic area, voted against prison labor.
Yeah,
So,
well,
like, we have a much larger topic at hand to talk about. Aside from just Trump winning, we have to have an internal talk about America as a whole, because that, in my book, is objectively a problem. I don't think anyone, I don't care if you are in jail for any crime, should have forced labor. I don't maybe that's just me because I've read a history book. I don't I don't see a benefit in allowing forced labor, because then you create a society where you can incorrectly or abuse the law enforcement and arrest people so that you can use them for slave labor. And then you can use that to lower prices for products. And that can be very, very easily abused, because we see that happen frequently with petty crimes and petty drug crimes. People go away for years for holding what? A cigarette's worth of marijuana, and they go away for years. But people who do some of the most heinous things, steal millions and millions of dollars, do things to people physically, are in jail for maybe 3 months.
Yeah, with that in mind, forced labor, uh, prisoners would get paid pennies, per, you know,
Yeah, it's
ye-
slave wages. They're getting paid pennies to the dollar.
yeah,
Pennies to the dollar.
and the problem was illegally they were being farmed out to other industries to work, and that's not a good thing. But I want to bring something up. Abortions settled with states. We just had a reason to turn that over by voting yes. We don't want to have abortions uh, ruled by the states, but had to have a 60% vote yes.
Oh,
And the,
Florida. Yeah.
yeah,
Florida's stupid 60% rule
yeah,
further proves how awful Florida is in my book, because they won. They won the majority, 52%. It was like 52.2% or something like that. But because it had to be a 60% win,
yeah.
it got tossed.
And the same thing with
Stupid.
marijuana. Marijuana got to us too.
Right.
Yeah,
Stupid.
yeah.
Stupid. Oh my
I
God.
do agree that we have to vet and secure the border better. Um, I don't want to have to pay for illegal aliens that come over here when American citizens aren't getting paid properly. But then again,
I know, but
uh,
the biggest problem with that argument is paying the illegal aliens whatever money when people aren't getting paid enough. The people who aren't getting paid enough are not getting paid enough, not because of these immigrants. They're not getting paid enough because of corporations and the way that the system is set up. It has nothing to do with these immigrants. These immigrants aren't even taking that money away from us. If anything, they're helping because they're doing the jobs that no one wants to do. They're doing jobs for pennies to the dollar. They're 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 uh, um they're farming the oranges. They're picking the apples. They're doing these hard labor jobs that we saw. Where was it? It wasn't in Florida. It happened few in over the summer. I think it was actually, it might have been Florida. They got rid of a lot of their immigrants and then tried to hire a bunch of white people to do the jobs. And all the people started collapsing, complaining, and bitching about like not having proper working conditions, and the price of that food skyrocketed. And then they brought the immigrants back and they're like, okay, we're good.
yeah,
Like,
and it's true. The Democrats never addressed inflation as far as food is concerned. They'd say, well, the stock market's up. But if you went, for example, I'll just use an example. You're buying cereal. So a lot of people can't do math in their heads. So they'll give you twofers, buy one, get one free. In
right.
actuality, you're paying the same price that you would before the inflation,
Yep.
or you're going for water, and water that was 279 a case or 379 a case is now 679 a case.
Yep.
These are the little things. Meat is terribly high. Vegetables are terribly high. Um, gas is mid-range.
I was gonna say gas isn't like awful. It's not great, but it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
awful.
yeah, but they never, during the Biden administration, never properly addressed inflation.
Yeah.
So
So
with that in mind, you can take off now.
that's fine. I agree with that. I think they didn't handle that well at all. At I'll parallel that though to Trump claiming that he's going to lower the price of produce, like what he says, something like eggs and milk or something like that, as if he's got some magic like price reduction button. Like I don't he like everything else, he doesn't actually explain what he's going to do. He just makes these bold-faced claims and then doesn't show up for any of them as he did when he was last president. But that doesn't discount that the Democrats didn't do anything about it. It just simply parallels that they're both absolutely useless when it comes to inflation. Um, but like uh, there's so many this was the most messy set of events that could have happened because let's be clear on one thing. Kamala Harris did everything she could to kneecap her campaign. Every possible decision, if it was a left or right decision and there was a clear right and wrong, she made sure to do every wrong decision. This election was, in my book, was not a left. We're voting for a leftist and a rightist. We were voting for a right and a far right person. That's it. Because she was not, she did not promote any general leftist or democratic beliefs. Everything that she was promoting, I was like, oh, this is like traditional Republican. This is like, we're going back like Dick Cheney. We're going to like Reagan era. We're going like, this is traditional Republicanism. This is not like Trump Republican, but it's traditional. It's bordering centrist, maybe, but this is like right wing. She did nothing, absolutely nothing to help or to aid in Democrats. My favorite was her what was it? Oh God, I don't want to misquote it. Oh, my favorite was she was openly talking about how she wants to have Republicans in her cabinet. Not just but any Republicans, but specifically ones from Trump's previous cabinet. What what? What do you like? What is that? How does that help anyone who is voting for a blue Democratic left side? These people specifically didn't want Trump. So why are you actively adding Trump people into your cabinet? Not to mention, aside from the fact that she came in not even by her own choice. She came in by force because Biden was emptying his pants and just couldn't go on. So that was already the start of a bad foot, was her having to take up the reins from what was already a bad campaign via Biden. But what made it horrendous was, you would think, right? Biden has horrendous numbers. People were shying away from him. They don't like him. He was not doing well overall through his presidency, mostly because he's just not coherently there. You would think that if you take up the reins off of a guy who is doing poorly in the polls, you would think you'd want to walk or step away from those ideologies, move a couple steps back from his brand, shall we say.
Yeah.
But
Well, let's,
instead, all she did for her campaign was say, I'm gonna do what he did, but better. I'm just gonna be him. I'm gonna be Joe Biden too.
yeah, she should
Ooh.
have separated herself. But then again, uh, it all goes back to 4 years ago. Uh, they should have vetted Biden more carefully, realizing that
Biden should have never have run. That let's be clear
right,
about that. Biden should have never have run. The only reason he was picked from last election was because he was the lesser of two evils. No one actually wanted Biden for any actual reason. He's not, truly should not have been there. But if it was between the two, it was obviously that choice. We were then in the same situation where it was between the two, and I didn't like her, but I voted for her because it was either her or him, because if you vote for a third party, it's useless. If you vote for a Green Party, it's useless.
Yeah,
So you,
I kind of thought it of this way in a semi-humorous way. You're a single man in the bar. You want to get laid. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. To the left of you is an ugly woman. To the right of you is an uglier woman. You go home with the ugly woman. I consider Trump to be the ugly woman in that conversation. You get it?
Mhm.
Okay. To me, I don't like the man, but I do like some of his policies. Uh,
I would love to hear actual depth into a single one of his policies. Any of them. Any single one outside of I have a concept of a plan. Because
yeah,
I have not heard. I pulled up and I had an article ready because I was going to discuss it after. Associated Press breaking down some of his specific propositions or specific things that he is proposing right out the gate for when he comes into office. And I'll read them, but just to give a little preference, I the six or so that I read, the main topics: immigration, abortion, healthcare, taxes, tariffs, trades, all of them are, he said this thing, but he hasn't gone into depth in the past year since he's been saying this thing.
okay, so let's
So,
get to it. Let's get to it.
so let's start off with abortion. Trump played down abortion as a second term priority, even as he took, this is from Associated Press, by the way. Even as he took credit for the Supreme Court ending a woman's federal right to terminate pregnancy, returning abortion regulation to state governments. At Trump's instance, the GOP platform, for the first time in decades, did not call for a national ban on abortion. He says, to paraphrase the rest, he says he would veto a national abortion ban. He thinks he says he's happy with it being, with Roe v. Wade being overturned and it just being a state thing. Taxes. Trump's tax policies broadly tilt toward corporations and wealthier Americans, i.e.,
Well,
rich people.
let's go to the first one.
That okay.
Abortions. I said it before. I don't believe the state or the federal government should have anything to say about how a woman controls her body or what doctors can do with
Mhm.
abortions. It's my opinion, and I stick by it. So,
And I agree, which is why I would argue that we need a national abortion rights law that allows everyone to have the right to do what they want. Because if you leave it up to state rights, you are allowing states to tell women what to do with their bodies.
yeah.
That
Okay. Well,
it's as simple as that. And truly and honestly, I have not seen an argument against it outside of people bringing in religion and opinions, not actual genuine reasons behind an anti-abortion law. So I would love to hear one from anyone, but in my opinion, or from my experience, I should say, it's been strictly religious, which is a disgusting use of your opinion because religion and politics
my
should not be incorporated.
of a person's opinion.
Yeah, yeah, not yours. No, no, no. I'm saying in my experience of other people. I'm saying the people who have been anti-abortion, their reasoning has been religious, and that's just a gross use of your choice and your perspective because they should not be involved in the same thing. That's why we have a separation of church and state.
What's the next one?
Next one is taxes. Trump's tax policies broadly tilt toward corporations and wealthier Americans. That's mostly due to his promise to extend his 2017 tax overhaul, with a few notable changes that include lowering the corporate income tax rate to 15% from the current 21%. That also involves rolling back the Democratic President Joe Biden's income tax hikes on the wealthiest Americans and scrapping Inflation Reduction Act levies that finance energy measures intended to combat climate change. Those policies notwithstanding, Trump has put more emphasis on new proposals aimed at working and middle-class Americans, exempting earned tips, Social Security wages, and overtime wages for income taxes. It's noteworthy, however, that his proposal on tips, depending on how Congress might write it, could give a backdoor tax break to top wage earners by allowing them to reclassify some of their pay as tip income, a prospect that at its most extreme could see hedge fund managers or top flight attorneys taking advantage of a policy that Trump frames as being designed for restaurant servers, bartenders, and other social workers. Surprise, surprise, he's
Yeah,
helping the wealthy, and he's providing a proposal that will give a backdoor for more wealthy people. Surprise, surprise. It's amazing that anyone who is a small business owner, a small business worker, voted for in favor of that, bringing that up as a topic of why they voted for him.
I think again, a lot of people voted for him, not just because he said he'd make America great again, but because they did not want to vote for a black woman.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're skipping ahead. I was going to get into that separately, but yeah, there is a separate ideology that, in what I said at the very beginning of like, we need to discuss this as an internal issue within America. I agree. I think there is a significant amount of people that voted for Trump for no reason, no policies, no laws, no nothing, purely because they didn't want a woman, let alone a black woman, as president.
Black Asian woman.
Yes, but minority woman,
Minority, yes.
specifically a woman, but a minority woman as president,
Yeah.
regardless of any policies in general. I think there is a significant number, not negligible, not something that can be discarded, a significant number of individuals that voted specifically because she's a woman.
Okay, what else you got?
Tariffs and trades. Trump's posture on international trade is to distrust world markets as harmful to American interest. He proposes tariffs of 10 to 20% on foreign goods, and in some speeches has mentioned even higher percentages. He promises to reinstate an August 2020 executive order requiring that Food and Drug Administration buy essential medications only from U.S. companies. He pledges to block purchases of any vital infrastructure in the U.S. by Chinese buyers. I saw, and I found it to be wildly entertaining, and now it's wildly dangerous, an extreme amount of right-wing young people, my age, Gen Z, who were going, they go on these podcasts, they'd go on these events or talk with people, and they'd bring up tariffs. And time again, they don't know what they don't understand tariffs. Trump's like, oh, I'm going to put tariffs on China. When you put a tariff on another company, we foot the bill.
Another country.
That's what I mean. When we put tariffs on another country, where like somewhere else, we foot the bill. They get their money. They get paid. Once it gets here, it then gets that extra 15, 20 or more percent that he's claiming. We are going to foot that. All those prices are going to be more expensive because the point is to de-incentivize us from buying from them so that we then make them in our own country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to tell you, we do not have the ability, nor will we produce everything for ourselves. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we put tariffs on other countries, and then they put tariffs on our goods and services, so it becomes a problem.
It is horrendous, absolutely horrendous and stupid idea. And like I said, every time I've seen these clips of like Gen Z right-wing boys, specifically white Gen Z men, trying to have these arguments, and then they bring up tariffs, and he's like, well, yeah, Trump's going to bring tariff. He's going to put tariffs on China. It's going to make everything better. And they go, do you know what that does? And they have no concept because they simply believed what he said rather than doing research or spending maybe 3 minutes Googling what the hell a tariff is.
Yeah, every president wants to bolster the GNP, the gross national product. And, they'll do anything that will bring the numbers up, and it'll affect other things in our economy, unfortunately. But
So let's keep going. DEI, LGBTQ, and civil rights. Trump has called for rolling back societal emphasis on diversity for legal protections of LGBTQ citizens. This was obvious. This was something he was always against, was anything that had to do with the queer community. Get the boys in the girls' sports and all that crap, whatever.
My friend addressed that. He doesn't want that boys and girls and boys sports, or boys and girls sports.
And I'll just as a semi-humorous
tampons in the boys' bathroom,
as a semi-humorous, well, that's absolute horseshit, because if he's never, then he should never use a family bathroom ever, a gender-neutral bathroom that they have at airports and various malls.
It was supposed to be humorous.
I know, I'm just saying, like, it's because I've heard that argument of like, oh, tampons in the men's bathroom. I've heard that argument before. It's the most stupid thing. But there was something else I was going to say. I forgot about it. Doesn't matter. Regulation and federal bureaucracy and presidential power. The president-elect seeks to reduce the role of federal bureaucrats and regulations across economic sectors. Trump frames all regulatory cuts as an economic magic wand. He pledges precipitous drops in U.S. households, utility bills by removing obstacles to fossil fuel production, including opening all federal lands for exploration. Just to pause right there, that means fracking, oil extraction, and more climate change. This falls in line with the dumbasses who don't believe in climate change.
Yeah, my friends don't believe in climate
change. Right, as they're actively gutting their houses from a hurricane that they've never experienced in their life. Climate change is not real, but a hurricane that is one of the worst that's ever been, they're actively gutting their houses and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to replace all the furniture. But climate change is fake.
They don't believe in climate change.
Of course, because it still snows and it still rains and it's still sunny, so they don't care.
They believe we have to have oil to knock prices down because oil is utilized for other products in the United States.
Because the focus is on individual profit for themselves, because what's expensive for them is most important. Obstacles to fossil fuels, including opening all federal land to exploration, even though U.S. energy production is already at record highs. Trump promises to unleash household housing construction by cutting regulations. Though most construction rules come from state and local government, he also says he would end frivolous litigation from the environmental extremists.
Well, so what that might stem from. In Florida, because of the collapse of large condos in the last year or two, now they had people evacuated their expensive condos because they didn't meet codes for these hurricanes, and these people are sucking wind because the big giant condos that they had to leave are going to cost them fortunes to move back in to do the repairs.
And also, we recently saw what his deregulation on the food industry did. In the past 6 months, we have had almost every type of food get recalled due to aggressive amounts of lead or various poisoning or problems within the food. We recently had McDonald's, we had Boar's Head. Before that, we had a couple vegetables. There was a couple drinks that got removed before that. Past 6 months or so. And
why would that be Trump's fault? That would be Biden.
Because because it was a thing that he put in during his presidency that came into effect this year.
Oh, okay.
That's why. It had nothing to do with Biden, because it was put into law, into power or law, whatever you want to call it, by Trump, and it was effective starting this year or last year, whenever it started.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately we started seeing recalls over the past 6 to 8 months on literally every sector of food, and it is directly correlated to his deregulation. So deregulation in general is not a fun deal. We're gonna take a brief pause because we have to change the film on this tape. So we'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, we're back. Sorry. I just had to change the film on this because Zoom only lets us for 40 minutes. So
Yeah. One of the things that's occurring now, and that we've mentioned it in the past, is that when you go to whether it's Fox or CNBC or CNN or any one of the news stations, they're no longer reporting news. They're basically entertainment.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
And
so yeah, there's a broader issue within America in general. We have commodified everything. Every single thing you can possibly think of has been commodified. Everything. Even our most intimate moments of sex has been commodified to the nth degree. Nth degree. It's not just like magazines or like a VHS tape. It is to the nth degree.
Mhm.
That includes politics and news. The one of the biggest issues that I think is, aside from the fact that a fifth of America is illiterate, and part of the reason why Trump is able to win, um, people don't have faith in our government on either side. No one has faith in anyone because we are able to catch them actively in lies on both sides. Everyone's lying. Every single person is lying. And too many people would rather have someone who just says that they're going to do it, even if it's the most heinous thing, and do it, i.e., Trump. Trump will happily, to your face, say he's going to do some of the most ridiculous and heinous things, but he's going to do it. Democrats will say, "Yeah, we'll fix Roe v. Wade. Oh, we'll lower inflation," and then they don't do anything. And that's common practice for Democrats. They love to overpromise and underperform. That's just what they do. Sometimes it's because they don't have the House and the Senate, because they're getting filibustered and whatever crap. They had all the power. They had all the power in the last 4 years, and they did nothing. They've
Yeah,
had
I
all the
think
power in the past, and they didn't do things.
yeah, I
So
think Trump will do things. We may not like what he does, but I
he's
think he'll do things.
he's going to do insane things because he won not only the election, the electoral college, the popular vote, he got the Senate, and he's most likely going to get the House. So, and he's also going to put two more people most likely in the Supreme Court in Republican side. And they're going to be there till the day they die because we have that kind of system. But he will have a super majority. He will get to pass whatever he wants. Now, let's also remember, last presidency, he put a nice little thing with the Supreme Court people that he gets presidential immunity. Remember that. That's why he was able to vote as a felon, as a convicted felon. By law, he is a convicted felon. He was able to vote because, as a president, he was able to enact that he gets special immunity for being a president. I don't know how to tell you this, but there's a very specific type of government, of power, where the leader gets immunity, and it's not a democracy.
Well,
So
you know what? I believe that we get what we vote for,
absolutely.
and I wish him the best. I will not agree with a lot of things he does. I will agree with some of the things he does, but I'm keeping an open mind because the other candidates, the other candidate was the lesser of two evils in my mind, but I wasn't happy with her. So I want to see him make America great again.
He's not going to. I'm sorry to burst that bubble for you. He's simply not. One of the first things he plans to do is mass deportation. He's going to revoke the rights of citizens who got citizenship here, immigrants who got citizenship through birthright. So he's not only going to revoke their parents and deport them, he's going to take a significant portion of his voting, the people who voted for him. They had a record show of Latino, specifically Latino men, but Latino people in general, voted for him. Any of those people who came here and got citizenship because their parents were immigrants and they got citizenship because they were born here, you are going to get deported. That is
you're wrong. I hope you're
I'll
wrong.
read it. I'll read it to you. I got it right here. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Hold on. I straight up ceiling spending. Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Here it is. Build the Wall from his 2016 campaign. This is still from the same Associated Press article. Has become creating the largest mass deportation program in history. Trump has called for using the National Guard and empowering domestic police forces in effort. Still, Trump has been scant on details, as he always is, of what the program would look like and how he would ensure that it targeted only people in the U.S. illegally. He pitched ideological screening for would-be entrants, ending birthright citizenship, which almost certainly would require a constitutional change, and said he'd reinstitute first-term policies such as remain in Mexico, limiting migrants on public health grounds, severely limiting or banning entrants from certain majority Muslim nations. Altogether, the approach would not just crack down on illegal immigrants, but curtail immigration overall. Homie is going to take away citizenship from people who got it through birthright, and they are going to get deported. And a significant amount of those people voted for him.
I tend to agree with part of that, but not all of it. I think once you become a citizen, you're a citizen. But I do agree with the importing, sending people back from where they came from.
Mass deportation,
Deportation.
the
Yeah.
way that it is being proposed by having military or police force raid houses, the way that I'll read it again.
No, I know. I heard what you said.
Empowering domestic police forces in the effort. National Guard and so sicking the National Guard and domestic police forces on basically raiding homes.
Hey,
I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to bring forth more of a parallel to another historical event that did something similar.
yeah, I'll give you an example, Pete. Do you remember?
No, when I say I don't know, I know. I'm dancing around the topic.
Yeah.
I'm saying there is a very specific point in history, specifically around the 30s and 40s, where something similar happened. Mass deportation, because here's the thing, they're not all going to go on one boat. You have to put them somewhere. Guess what? We're going to put them in camps. We're going to put them in detention centers.
And like in Japan, the Japanese war, we put them in detention.
And then it's going to become cheaper to do something else other than just send them away. Because once we put them there, the same way that we've seen it across the world and historically we have the proof. They're not going to just round them up and bring them all out in a day. They have to be put somewhere. They're going to put them in a camp or a detention center, and then they're not going to actually deport them.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
That's how this works. That's historically, that's how this works. Like aside from the 30s and 40s when this happened on a major sense, there are other
that with the Japanese.
That's what I'm saying with the Japanese and with another. There's multiple countries throughout history that this has happened to. So, I cannot stress that enough.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if that happens.
It is insane that
You
people actively voted against themselves. Like it's one thing for, let's say, some people to say, oh, a lot of husbands voted against their wives, right? For the healthcare and the anti-abortion and a couple other things regarding women's rights.
Especially when they may have daughters or wives that are pregnant.
Exactly. But it's one thing to bring that up because you can make the argument that these guys are simply just selfish and they only think of themselves, or they look at their wives as lesser. And it's easier to write them off as a villain, right?
Yeah.
But
Well,
when you're looking at the massive uptick in Latino voters for Trump, or just immigrants in general for Trump, but specifically Latino because of Florida and Miami area.
see, when I
He's
brought this
going
up,
after you. That's the part that's so mind-boggling.
yeah, yeah,
It's not the husband voting against the wife. It's you voting against yourself.
yeah,
You think, oh, well, I'm a citizen here, I'm legal.
yeah,
I really hope he agrees. I really hope he agrees because I just read it to you. He is going to revoke the first generation citizenships. So your parents are gone, and so are you.
yeah.
And,
So
and let's hope he stops there. Let's hope he stops there.
let's hope that 216, that presidency, when I brought it up to my friends, they said, well, he's a different person there. He's learned from some of the things he said and his mistakes, because I brought up, I don't think he had a good moral character.
That's the
Uh,
thing. He, if anything, is worse now because now he's got vengeance. He's got a goal. He's got things to do. The first 4 years, he was putzing about. He probably didn't even think he was going to make it. And he made it. And he's like, whoa, what the hell am I doing here? And he just ripped it. Now he knows what to do.
Yeah,
Now he's got a plan. Now it's going
yeah,
to be worse.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I hope that all that stuff doesn't happen, but if it happens, it happens because people voted him in. But
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going to give him I'm going to give him from day one the benefit of doubt to start from fresh, to
Can't.
make
Can't
to
because he already said day one he's gonna do that immigrant policy. Day one. That was
well,
day one.
you can't in life, you can't start off with negativity
He
and be
straight up
successful.
did though. That was
No,
it.
I'm saying if he's going to do it, he'll do it, and then you can criticize. Not you, but people can criticize.
I know,
It's
but we've played this game too many times, right? Of well, if he's actually gonna do it, maybe he won't. When he says something, we have to believe him. We have to believe him in every sense. Because if all we do is play the game of, well, he meant this or well, he meant that,
we'll see.
that's not how this works. That's not how this works because then what's the point of any law? Well, the law says this, but what he meant was this. So I don't really need to follow that law. He meant this. No, absolutely not.
We'll we'll
Absolutely not.
see how much trouble he gets into.
Absolutely not. Oh, I meant to add this in because on the Associated Press article, the last two bits. I'm skipping over climate and energy and Affordable Care Act because he doesn't we know he doesn't want those things. That's obvious. He's whatever.
None of the Trumpsters want that.
Right. This is also one I'm gonna just briefly skim over with Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. Um, he insists that he's going to protect Social Security and Medicare, but there are questions about how this but he's got popular programs toward older Americans and among the biggest pieces of federal spending pie each year. There are questions about how his proposal not to tax tip and overtime wages might affect Social Security and Medicare. So he's claiming to want to protect Social Security and Medicare, but with the thing we were talking about earlier regarding the giving the wealthy, lowering wealthy taxes, but giving backdoor access for small workers, those lack of taxes affect directly Social Security and Medicare. I know people don't like the idea of universal health care because it pays for people's they don't want to pay for other people's gender affirming surgeries. They're actively doing that with Social Security and Medicare. Anyone who's over the age of 65 and has Medicaid, you are paying for other people's you're not paying for your own, you're paying for everyone else's. So that's what your taxes go to. You're already doing that. And then Trump has talked a little bit about Medicaid, but his first administration in general defaulted to approving state requests for waivers of federal rules and were broadly endorsed state level work requirements for recipients. Again, more state level crap. The things I wanted to bring up was workers' rights. Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance framed their ticket as favoring America's workers, but Trump could make it harder for workers to unionize, so that was one I was going to skip through as well. Anti-union. Homie's anti-union, big, very obvious. Surprise, surprise. He does not want people getting paid fairly. National defense and America's role in the world. Trump's rhetoric and policy approach in world affairs is more isolationist diplomatically, non-interventionist militarily, and protectionist economically than the US has been since World War II. But the details are more complicated. He pledges expansion of the military. Again, Kamala said the same thing. So again, like if Trump's going to say, I want to expand the military, and Kamala goes, we're going to be the strongest military power in the world. Well, they're the same people at that point for that one. If you're a big anti-war person, great. Your vote's going to Jill Stein, which goes in the trash.
Yeah, well,
promises,
I agree with him about that.
Promises to protect Pentagon spending from austerity efforts and proposes a new missile defense shield. So he wants to create the Iron Dome for America, an old idea from the Reagan era during Cold War. Trump insists he can end Russia's war in Ukraine and the Israel-Hamas war without explaining how. In perfect Trump fashion, I can end the wars, but I have a concept of how, but I'm not going to tell you.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Thank you. Trump summarizes his approach through another Reagan phrase, peace through strength. Absolute horseshit. But he remains critical of NATO and top U.S. military brass. Quote, I don't consider them leaders. Cool.
Yeah, there's an article today. All the world leaders complimented him on his re-election because now they know it's going to be up to him what happens with their futures.
Absolutely, because we are a superpower. Here's the last sentence right here. Trump said of Pentagon officials that Americans, quote, see on television. He repeatedly praised authoritarians like Hungary's Viktor Orban and Russia's Vladimir Putin. I'm sorry to tell you, if a Democratic president is praising authoritarians, I don't know how to tell you that he's not a Democratic president.
But he's a Republican president.
No, a president for the democratic, like the democracy of
right.
America.
Okay.
I should have been more I should have extrapolated better.
Yeah.
As the president of the free world, the democratic world, if your president is praising authoritarians, pack it up. Pack it up. We're done. Yeah. Like this is what I mean, right? Aside from and you'll have people who will shoo that off and go, oh, well, he's just doing that so that he can make friends with them, not so that we don't start wars with them. Great. Let's discuss all the policies we've been talking about this whole time. Let's discuss them. For the love of God, let's discuss any of them, because I know he hasn't. He's been following the Russian 1930s and 40s playbook perfectly. You make a slogan and you just repeat it. If you repeat it enough times, people stop asking and they just support it. Enough people will. That's it's crazy. It's so crazy. I went to school with some people and I'm watching them support this guy. It's insane. I went into class how to spot propaganda, authoritarianism, and oncoming, and the playbook. Here's the playbook that the Russians used to win people over and start the Third Reich. Here's the playbook, the 7 steps.
The Germans were the Third Reich.
Yes, but what I'm saying is it was the Germans and the Russians. There's a playbook. That playbook. I learned the 7 rules. It is a clear and easy playbook.
Yeah.
And watching it unfold is like I can't fathom. I cannot fathom it. because people will push aside so many problems so long as the one thing that they want is being heard.
Okay, so let's just say this. The Democrats right now are
Are in
like
shambles.
are like a Major League Baseball team with no farm team. They're
Shambles. They need
they're
to
in shambles.
they
They're
need to disperse and come back like a completely different thing,
yeah,
because like absolutely horrendous
yeah.
behavior.
They, yeah, and
They
they
did.
have nobody in the future right now that the public knows about.
Right. They're right. Unless someone comes in the next 4 years, like unless Tim Walz goes rogue and does his own stint away from Kamala. Because here's the thing, right? Tim Walz had a good run at the beginning. He was favorited across the board. Left, right, red, blue, everyone loved him. He was good. And because he was, local farmer boy. He had some good things to say. And then Kamala turned around and put a hand up his ass and said, "You got to talk like this." And he then just started repeating the same crap that she did and absolutely ruined any possibility of him having any forward motion in the second half of her campaign.
Yeah, and you know what happened? A stupid thing like Biden. I don't know why they even let him talk. Getting on and saying the supporters of Trump are garbage. Uh,
Yeah,
that
but
didn't.
that doesn't mean anything, because you had Tony Hitchcliff say that the entire island of Puerto Rico is a
I
floating
know.
pile of garbage, and somehow they still voted for him. So it like
Well,
ridiculous.
what I'm just saying is that people are like sound bites, and we have 4 years. It takes a normal president 2 terms. He only
Yes.
has 1 term. And it usually takes 2 years to get into the first term to achieve anything. He'll
Right.
probably do what he intends to do because, like you said, he's had experience prior to, this term, this election. He will probably do all the good things or all the bad things in the first year. I think,
Well, I think he's going to try and do all the bad things in the first year and a half, but it's not going to take effect till the third year, because
yeah,
we always have to remember, right? Every president is not should never be praised for most of their time in office, because most of the things that they do or they sign into law or whatever, most does not affect the general public until the next presidency. Most of it, right? Obviously, there's caveats and nuances, but most of it. That's why Trump was so loved during his first term, because he was riding the coattails of Obama's work. That's
my friends say no,
Yeah,
no, no,
of
no.
course, because they don't understand basic politics and how things work. The reason why we're having regulation issues right now is directly because of Trump. You didn't even know that. Trump set a law for deregulation. It came into effect at the end of Biden's presidency. But it's directly because of Trump. Is it also Biden's fault for not finding a way to skirt that or get rid of it? Absolutely. But it was Trump who put it into place, and we're seeing it more. He wants to deregulate more regarding real estate and the things I just read.
Okay, well,
So
let's see. Let's
uh,
see.
most of those things were like, and because Biden didn't do jack this whole presidency, it, it's gonna be. I can't even guarantee that but Biden didn't do almost anything during his presidency. That means almost nothing's going to happen for at least the first year or two of Trump's presidency. People are going to go, "Well, see, it's fine." Rah, rah, rah. And then all the stuff that he puts in that first year, when it actually hits in the third year and the fourth year, and then hopefully, if we actually can get another election, because I'm about a 50-50 right now. I'm on a coin toss that we'll actually get another president after this.
Oh, I think so.
I'm at a coin toss. I am at a full 50-50. I have literally zero faith and zero uh like I'm here because I got to see what happens, because I've no faith that we're going to have another election.
Okay, with that, I don't want to get any more negative because that is really a bad thing to assume. But uh, let's say this. He's the president of the word United States.
The president of the divided states.
Okay, but
Absolutely.
we got to go with the flow until the flow is no good.
The
So we
flow
got to
has not been good for at
that
least 3 decades.
we got to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though we don't agree with him on a lot of
No.
things.
You can give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not going to
Okay.
give him shit. I'm going to prep for the meteor to hit and handle accordingly how that
Oh
works.
my God.
I'm going to prep the best way that I can, but I am not going to take this with a grain of salt because we saw what he did the first time. We've seen
Okay.
what he's been saying and doing for the past 8 years. This is not like it's his first term. This is his second term.
Okay.
It,
Let's
indicted
watch.
felon, double impeachment. Uh,
Watch and wait. Let's see. Let's
Good
see.
luck. Good luck to anyone who voted for him. I hope you get everything you deserve
Like the
from this
squirrel
vote.
says, let's make sure we hide our nuts because we don't know what's coming afterwards.
Anyone who voted for him will get exactly what they voted for. And good for you. Good for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you truly, truly enjoy it.
But would it have been better with Kamala?
Uh so no, we're not here. They're both garbage. Objectively, through my perspective, so that I won't say objectively, subjectively, she is always in every book better than him.
Okay.
But
Let's leave.
that's again, right wing versus far right wing. They're both awful.
Okay.
But if we're
So,
talking who's farther along, there is one. They're not equal here. One is better, but that is
okay. Hopefully I'll be around by the end of his term. I know you will be. So,
maybe, unless my Medicare gets cut and my health goes down the tubes.
yeah, same thing with me. Um, so, uh, God bless America. If there's God has influence on America.
Obviously not, because he would not ever
I
let this happen.
I had my I had my thing on the God factor, and I read it to my three friends, and I said, "How do you think it would affect Peter if I read it?" They
Oh,
said,
that
"Well,
Trump said he was appointed because of God or something like that. Didn't he say that in his
no,
speech last night?
I once read it to you, my God factor that people are nothing but sheep." Um, and they said, "Don't read it because it's too strong, too biased, and it's not good for Peter
Oh
because
yeah, no, they think it's like as if I haven't heard that. Yeah, I know. It's a very specific right wing mentality of like people are sheep and they just follow the thing, and that's obviously true as we've seen by how he won.
yeah,
People voting against their own rights. If that's not the most sheepish thing I've ever heard, then I don't know what is. But
yeah. I mean, so you don't want me to read it, so I
it,
won't.
it's not again. It's nothing I've
Yeah,
not heard.
yeah. So with that in mind, we're in the newsroom. We just gave our opinion, our facts. We didn't try to entertain. This might not have been entertaining. Uh, I don't want to spend.
Two white guys who probably won't be affected much talking about politics that again probably won't affect it. It'll affect us in small ways, most likely through healthcare and taxes, but
Yeah,
we have the absolute least, as straight white men, two of us, we have the absolute best end of this horrendous stick.
yeah. Because basically, I'm going to go on with my life until I can't, and so will you. And then we'll be critical as day by day goes on. And he'll have, like last time, 200 of his subordinates quit on him. And finally he'll get into trouble when the wrong person is under him. Do you get that one?
I get it.
Okay.
I get it.
So with that in mind, this is our first podcast in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's been terrible down here in Florida. They're first really starting to clean up a little bit. It's sad. I'm gonna come down to visit you
Mhm.
very shortly.
Come up. You're coming up to visit me.
Coming up to visit you very shortly. It's like our government is making us live in a garbage can down here.
Oh, interesting. And who would you who do you say is running that state? Hard right.
Yeah, what's
DeSantis?
his name? Yeah, what's his
Ron
name?
DeSantis,
Yeah.
a very hard right red Republican. It's okay, yeah, sorry. I just need to clarify who was running that state.
Yeah,
Got
they
it.
just picked up the solid garbage, some of it, but not the trees that fell down on
Well,
my block.
they can't ever pick up all the garbage because he's the governor.
Yeah, and then all my friends who have lost their houses or had major damage, I feel guilty because I was very fortunate. But it's sad. They closed the beaches down. There's locks and chains on the doors so nobody can get into the beach. All the prices are going up. All the insurance is going up.
But deregulation on those things, right?
Yeah,
Deregulation through Trump. You
yeah.
guys will have absolutely no way to defend
Well,
yourselves when the next hurricane comes.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I would like to say to everybody out there who was affected by the two hurricanes, I hope that better things happen to you. And we still have another month of November left. So I don't know what the heck can happen in November.
Oh, you mean like for hurricane season?
Yeah, the latest, I think November 27th was the latest date for a hurricane. But again, one never knows. As they say, one never knows, do one.
So
As the brothers say, nobody knows.
nobody knows.
Only just, and in the old days, there used to be a radio program called The Shadow, and he would say, nobody knows, but the shadow knows.
Right.
So anyway,
All
till
right.
next time,
Here's
be safe.
here till the next time. Hopefully we make it to the next time.
Yeah, be safe, everybody.
Yes. Peace
Please.
out.
Peace out.